unit of land TM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it helps me not have to pay attention.
That's fair.
Yeah, so if you want, today is going to be a town building episode.
Nice.
And, you know, character building. Basically, I'm going to say, hey, these are buildings and shit that you can put down that will give you buffs in battle. Also, they will help you earn money or ingredients or whatever to generate new items in the store and stuff. And also, like, if you want an actual house and to not live in the inn, you have to make your own house. Also, people are going to be moving into the town slowly as you make it better, which means that you're going to have to learn how to manage your resources in order to make enough living space and bring in enough food to sustain the population.
Oh, we gotta think.
I mean, I made it very easy. I'm exaggerating a little bit right now. Again, if you have played Stardew Valley or if you have played Harvest Moon, basically what your goal is to make friends with the other villagers and to bring in supplies so that you can get upgrades. It's like tower defense.
Tower defense! Nice. If
anyone has played the Bloon game, Bloon, you know.
You know.
I have not played any of these.
Gently pats you.
Okay, that's fair. You're like, I will sink too much time into them. Okay. So, everyone, it has been a lovely evening. The crickets quieted down right when you went to sleep. You each picked out a room. The town inn actually has enough rooms to house all of you. It's also got a couple of rooms that are bigger rooms in that they have multiple beds in the same room. It's a pretty big inn because at one point this place was fucking bustling.
Ooh.
And the reason that this inn is still Fable, if you want to record, you can. Sorry,
I already started.
Okay, thank God.
Chitley pats you.
I started it a minute ago.
Okay, cool. So basically, the reason why the inn is so big is that it used to be a really bustling town and people would come in and out all the time. Of course, you know, shit happens, so that's not what happened anymore. And the reason why the inn and the town hall are in such good condition is because they're built on magical bedrock, and the magic itself sustains the buildings. The other buildings have to be upkept. Noctis's store is so well upkept because he takes very good care of it. And the dilapidated buildings were not made on magical bedrock like when you pour cement in it, like a good foundation. Like it wasn't enchanted. None of the rock was enchanted when it came out of the quarry. And as a result, time has continued to affect these buildings. If you look at the map, you see that they are a dark blue in that square. Yeah. So,
nice.
all right. What are our sleeping arrangements? Did you all opt for singleton rooms, or are any of you in the same rooms? Oh, and I know Uni that Child did not feel super like, oh, I'm not gonna go inside. That's for nerds. Because Child has their own issues, but also please tell us where they were sleeping.
Like one of the dilapidated buildings, like a barn or something, and slept on a hay bale.
All right, that's good enough for me. I just wanted to make sure he was inside.
Yeah.
Or they were inside.
Yes, they.
Yeah, I reflexively use pronouns because, like, brain always goes, like, you have to pronoun shit because otherwise you're othering it. That's not true, by the way. It's a bad habit. Or it is a habit. It's a habit.
I will say Nora probably didn't sleep in the inn either.
What'd you say?
Sorry, Nora probably slept outside as well.
Okay.
Star slept on the roof.
Oh.
Everyone's sleeping anywhere but a room.
Graham got a room. They're sleeping in their bag.
March slept in a room. Well, he slept in a room. He did not sleep on a bed. So
This
Did
squad
he
is the worst.
at least use a blanket?
no.
Is Petra the only one who used a room and used the actual bed
Yep.
for its intended purpose?
Yep.
Sorry,
Nice, my
Petra, you got
beloved.
saddled with a bunch of weirdos.
Congratulations.
Nor did look very longingly at the roof slash at a very tall tree. Like he'd love to like sleep at the height. Unfortunately, he's dex. So no.
That's all.
Okay, for anyone who actually slept inside, you wake up. The beds are very comfortable if you slept in a bed. If you did not sleep in a bed, the floor and or roof tiles are very nicely upkept due to magic. And you hear clanging coming from downstairs. Someone is in the kitchen. And for everyone who's sleeping outside, I guess you don't hear this and you don't get breakfast.
Can I argue that the roof is close enough?
Yes, that's why I included the roof. You hear pots and pans coming out of the chimney.
Nice.
Nice.
The smell wafts out the chimney.
Yeah, that'll wake Star up.
It's bacon.
Bacon. Oh yeah.
Yeah, March.
Petra awakens to the smell of good breakfast. Is like, oh, okay, time to be up. All right.
I don't think Graham would have heard us or smelled it because bag. But
You can roll
they do
perception,
wake
and
up
if
in
it's
the early
above
morning.
a 10, I'm gonna say that
Well, they do wake up in the early morning anyway, so they probably once they got out of there.
Go
again,
to the
you can roll
breakfast.
perception. If you get above a 10, the bacon smell makes its way to you wherever you are, and you can deal with whatever you want about that.
Extremely tempted. I'm gonna see just for the giggles.
Roll.
Yes, I am.
Roll.
Graham is making their own breakfast.
Graham eating a rock.
No.
Star fell off the roof.
Oh god.
Can't believe Star is dead.
Can he wait? Can to follow that gag, when Star falls off the roof, can March be sticking his head out the window to have a look about, and Star just lands on his head?
Yes.
Done.
Oh, hi. Why were you falling?
I wave and point up at the roof and then like pat the top of the hat as a thank you.
Oh.
Well, he is a shooting star. They are.
I hate this. Also,
I love this.
Nora rolled a 7, so Nora is still asleep.
We're off to a
Oblivious.
great start.
Fantastic start.
Wonderful.
We're doing wonderful, folks.
And I think March, with Star on top of his hat, is gonna go downstairs to the kitchen.
Yee.
Star won't argue this point. They will stay on the hat.
Hat's
All right.
comfy.
Hat is comfy.
Yeah.
You head
Petra's
downstairs.
probably like wandering your way down to the kitchen.
Yeah, it smells even better as you come down the stairs. Now you can smell
Yes.
eggs, like sunny side up. You can smell bacon. There's bread. It smells like bread baking.
Oh, that's the good stuff. Oh.
Yeah, you can hear something frying, multiple somethings, and once you finally come down and around and turn the corner, you can see Noctis is actually cooking right now.
Nice.
Yeah, he's making a traditional quote unquote breakfast, which is there's eggs, there's bacon, and he's got pancakes going, and he's spooning the batter into the big pan And Tia is currently sitting at the table drinking a cup of morning tea, and Tio is carrying is over by the oven, and he's pulling out fresh baked bread with a pair of oven mitts, and he turns around and he says, "Oh, look at the sleepyheads who decided to wake up.
Hi.
Hello, take a seat."
Petra waves is just like morning and trudges over to a chair and flops into it.
March will quietly go over to yeah, he'll go over to sit.
Tia pours both of them a cup of tea and then gestures to the sugar and the creamer, which are sitting on the table. And she says, "Good morning. Did you sleep well? Where is your small friend who was on the roof? Oh." And she looks around. And then she looks on the hat and she says, "Oh, good morning. I can't exactly give you a cup of tea while you're up there, but if you want one, they're down here on the table."
March.
Yeah, Star is climbing down at this point, and is offering like, "Do you guys need any help?"
And Noctis is juggling, like he is taken the bacon off the fryer. There is a small mound of it because like he's cooking for many people, and he's still working on the pancakes. And he says, can you take the stuff that's already done over to the table?"
Yeah, Star will jump to that.
Yeah. So Star, you find yourself with a big a heaping serving plate full of bacon. There's a smaller like serving container that has sausage in it. Tio is currently slicing some bread, but like he's putting it on a nice plate and he'll bring it over. And there's also a carafe of orange juice, but that is just sitting there, and it's meant to be on the table, but like Noctis has been busy with pancakes, and there's various little like buckets full of like berries around him, but you get the idea that those are not for the table right now. They are for if anybody has any special requests for pancakes.
Ooh.
Okay, I think with that, Star will also take the orange juice to the table.
All right, so you have a tune like stack of everything, and you gently just like, I'm gonna say with a 15, you toss it all up in the air, and it all floats down gently and lands neatly on the table. There's also like a salad or whatever. Like there's some if you want like some vegetables with your breakfast. There's like an arrangement of that, and you come back and you get that in the tongs and you put it down, and this is a very like cozy homemade breakfast of Studio Ghibli fame.
Nice. Nice.
The table is full of food. It smells so good. Everyone's got a cup of tea and an empty glass for like milk or orange juice if they want it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a pot of coffee, but it has been as of yet untouched because Tia and Tio prefer tea, and Noctis, for some reason, does not drink coffee. They made it to be thoughtful.
In that case, March is going to reach for the coffee. He's going to mix it.
The reason why Noctis does not drink coffee is that he's still growing and it'll stunt his growth. He wants to be taller.
So March is going to take a coffee, mix it in with the little teacup that was placed in front of him, and then he is going to take the teacup and just slurp it into his arm.
That's fair.
The whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
There's been weirder. As long as you return the teacup, it's fine.
Yeah, you like March holds up a finger and like he looks like he's waiting for something, and then Schlorp, the teacup, slowly comes back out of his arm and he places it back on the table, covered in ink.
Terrible, thank you.
And it's just like, can you please put that in the sink or like on like put it either on a sink or on a coaster if it's covered in ink.
Oh, okay. March will.
Yeah, it's just thoughtfulness because it's hard to get ink stains out of the tablecloth.
Oh.
Well, not for me, but like I don't like having to scrub and.
March will pick up his teacup and take it to the sink.
So, all right, now the smell is thoroughly like wafted outwards, and Tia has she's bustling around the table before anybody else has a chance to eat, and she is snagging little bits of everything, and she's putting together 3 plates for Nor, Grem, and the child, because she assumes they're still in town. Like if they've left, then she'll pick up the plates later. But she goes outside and she sets them down on the stone, covered with little like grandma handkerchiefs, which keeps the bugs and the germs out because it's grandma love. And then she yells and she says, "Breakfast!" And then she patters back inside and returns to her seat at the table. And she says, "All right, you can all dig in."
The moment you give Petra permission, Petra's just getting so much food.
Yeah,
Tio he's circling the table and he gives her a pat on the back and says, "I love to see a kid with a healthy appetite. You would not believe how much I've had to Noctis barely eats anything." And he's basically that, instead of the grandma who wants you to eat a ton, it's the grandpa who's just like, yeah, Gaines, you did that, awesome, eat some food, want some beans.
This has the same
Grandpa
energy
Gaines.
This has the same energy as Are You Winning Kid, but with food.
Exactly. Grandpa's just like, "You want some beans and also fresh baked bread," and he sets the platter on the table.
I will say, with the mention of that, Star is not so subtly putting extra food onto Noctis's plate.
Noctis is already busy with pancakes and says, "All right, I'm finishing up with pancakes. Does anyone have any special requests?"
Blueberries. They're good. Can I
Can
get
do.
some? Thank you.
He makes you a stack of 3 blueberry pancakes. The blueberries are big and luscious and beautiful, and I love Studio Ghibli food. And he comes over. He has his own plate of pancakes, which it looks like have bits of chocolate in them. And he has another plate of pancakes that has, there's just various and they're stacked. The one on top has what looks like a smiley face made out of fruit.
Oh.
And he says, "That one was actually for the kid, but I see that they're not here."
Oh.
It's like, does anybody want a smiley face pancake?
March raises a hand.
All right, March can have the smiley face pancake. Don't worry, if the kid comes back, I'll just make another one.
March's eyes are sparkling at the smiley face.
Oh.
But much like before, he will basically stab the whole pancake with a fork and slurp it into his arm and attempt not to lose his fork in the process.
Don't worry, it should be fine.
Amazing.
You say that, but you don't know if it. Listen, you're lucky you got the teacup back.
Why does March use cutlery then?
It's polite, and everyone else is using cutlery.
Meanwhile, outside,
Everyone
the
else,
child
huh?
has grabbed any food left outdoors and is just gobbling down with their hands.
Did they grab all 3 meals?
Depends. Do other people get there before them?
No, Graham is still doing their breakfast in their bag.
I think Nor is still he didn't roll a nat 20, so he definitely woke up, but he's still in that stage where you just woke up and the sun's shining and you're kind of blinking the exhaustion out of his eye. So yeah, child can take Nor's portion if child likes.
Yeah, child is
gets all the food.
Just full raccoon mode, just gobbling down on
Good for
the food
them.
left outdoors.
Good for them. Good for them.
Baby gives you food.
I think Nor just sees everyone else eating in the inn, and child is eating 3 meals for some reason outside. It's just okay, that's fair, and he's gonna go and take out his own rations for breakfast.
Oh my gosh. You're missing out on the good Ghibli breakfast.
Listen,
And I'm just
Listen,
like, that's the torture you all have to go through for not sleeping in my nice house.
listen, he slept through the explicit invitation is the thing, so he's just like assuming.
The doors are open.
Hey, he's smart, okay? He's smart. I never said that he was emotionally so.
All right. So Tia, who's been keeping an eye on everything, she perks up. She sees like motion outside the door, and she says, "Come in, come in."
Yes.
The child said, steps up, and there's just like syrup and egg yolk all over their face,
Aw.
and their tail sort of twitches back and forth a little bit.
There's more food
Do
inside.
they have the
Are
silly
you
eyes?
still hungry?
Yeah, they absolutely have the glowy eyes.
Can March, Petra, and Star see the kid through the? What'd you say, through the window?
Yeah. There's a window, and there's also a door, and the door is the classic like double door that's like, it has the swinging like Western style like you'd see in a cowboy town type doors.
Cool. I just
Howdy.
imagine March like leaning back to see through the door at the child and just waves a hand.
Child hesitates, glances around, and after a second also waves a hand back at everybody.
And it's just like,
Petra
all right,
peeks
I'm
out
about
and
to
then
put
also
the
waves
batter
a
away.
hand.
Does anybody want a special pancake?
Can I have another one with a smiley face on it?
Sure, yeah. And he goes back to making pancakes. Now you guys all have free reign to do character shit.
Sweet.
By the way,
Cool.
Star would have waved yes, he wants special pancakes. No, they do not specify what those special pancakes are.
Acceptable.
Petra's just sitting here like, what about one pancake with all the fillings?
No.
All of them.
Oh, so you want the works.
I do, yes.
You want the universe and everything.
Absolutely.
All right, this is gonna be dangerous, and he puts on a welding mask.
Oh my god.
Petra just puts both hands in the air victoriously, like, yes!
Nor walks in at this moment and does okay, because he's real kind. He's not a tune.
March just looks at Petra. Can you really eat the universe and everything?
Well, I don't know about that, but I can eat all the things that are going into a pancake.
Yeah, Noctis was joking, so like you look up at him the next moment and the mask is gone and he's just making a regular pancake.
Aw. Because I was like, if he really is making an everything pancake, March was gonna ask for an everything pancake and then challenge Petra to see who could actually eat it.
No, everything means everything. Noctis is including a little bit of everything on the table in this pancake.
Good.
Yes.
March would like to raise his hand.
Yes.
Can my smiley face pancake also have everything in it?
Yes. And with that, there's like a rush of activity from the back. It takes about 10 minutes. And
Child
then he...
the kid has like slowly crept indoors to like this sort of peer over the table, and it's just they're trying to grab food from everyone else's plate when they're not looking.
Aw.
Tia pats the seat next to them because it's empty.
She has to make a persuasion check.
All right, Tia's actually got real
Persuade
good.
the child.
I bet, but
Yeah, hold
still
on.
good.
Tia, she has. Well, her charisma isn't that high. Her wisdom is very high. But I'll roll it anyway to see if he wants to sit next to her. So that's an 8.
Oof.
Unfortunately,
Nah.
no. A child sort of shies away.
And she understands that she has high wisdom, so she turns back to the table, and she's just like, okay, blah 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 blah. And there are a couple of more empty seats because not everyone has taken one, but Noctis comes back over. At the opposite end of the table, he sets down a stack of pancakes that have fruit smiley face on them. These are normal edible pancakes. There's a dollop of like whipped cream for like hair at the edge. And he says, "This one's for the kid because I figured he hasn't had it before. These are my favorite breakfast food."
I can see why.
The child will stealthily grab some and continue eating with their hands. You cannot stop them.
No, that's fair. And then Noctis is just like, "Hey, napkin, buddy," and he reaches over the table and he does that thing in Treasure Planet where he whips out a napkin and offers it.
Child stares at it and pokes their tongue out at him.
"Oh, come on," and he gently tries to swab at their face and hands, just like, "Come on, clean up."
They make whiny noises in displeasure.
I know, you don't, I don't like cleaning up either, but like, you want to know what's worse? Being sticky all day.
March nods sagely.
Very quickly, he swabs over face and hands, and he says, "There's a fork if you don't want to get any stickier, and if you do want to get stickier, use your hands." And he sets the napkin down next to the plate, and then he goes over to Petra and he says, "Everything pancakes for you," and he sets down something that looks sort of like a Japanese souffle pancake, but it's stuffed full of things. And things that shouldn't even be in pancakes. Like, there's a whole ass egg in that. Like, it's an egg. Like, it's the inside is uncooked, the outside is a shell. He put it in there.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
And then he goes over to March and hands him the thing and says, "Oh, also here," and he pulls out a set of wooden cutlery, and he says, "These might be easier than the metal stuff. You don't have to worry about losing them."
Thank
You
you.
could probably eat these, actually.
Probably. He actually looks, but he's gonna look at Petra now. And Petra, he's giving you something of a challenging look and looking at the pancakes.
Oh, Petra is also returning it. Like, Petra has, like, slammed a hand down on the desk and is like, "Race?"
You're going to lose.
We'll see about that.
What do we have to roll?
Constitution.
Just straight constitution? Alright.
Yeah.
Straight con. Nice.
By the way, Star, your pancakes, which are also normal pancakes, are being set down in front of you.
Right.
Oh, no!
I want.
Like, you got special pancakes, but they're edible. Is my. Look, I would not eat what March and Petra are eating,
Yeah.
but I would eat these. Is what I'm saying.
Has Noctis had food yet?
He has not. He's been too busy cooking.
Can you grab him and sit him down at the table when he passes him the pancakes?
I'm not done. I gotta. I'm about to sit down. I have to put the stuff back and.
He's not letting go.
You're on bed rest.
I was on bed rest, and he points. I was. No longer. That's the key point here.
Shouldn't you still be resting, though? March says as he is trying to force the entire everything pancake into his arm. Seems to be fighting him a little bit.
I rested last night. I slept.
Petra just squints. Like,
I
she
should
pauses
double that.
eating the everything pancake, which she has somehow gotten halfway through, and she's just squinting at Noctis.
Why does everyone give me that look? And Tia says, "Because you're bad at taking care of yourself, dear." And Tia's just like, "I'm staying out of this."
Okay, Star has picked up Noctis and has placed him in a seat. That was the strength roll.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm just," and he throws up his arms and he's like, I'm guessing this falls under, I have to, it's you had to wipe the kid's face, have to sit down and eat something. It's part of being, like, a responsible person, and he sticks his tongue out, oddly reminiscent of Child's gesture.
Side note, Child has absolutely resumed eating with their hands.
That's fine.
Good.
And he's just like, I would have eaten, like, as soon as I was done, and now I have to, like,
It's alright, Star is cleaning up for Noctis. He's just like, eat.
That's fair enough. And now that he sees that Star is picking up things, he's just like, okay, I can relax, and he starts eating.
I will say that Nora probably finished this before Petra and like March, not because he ate faster, but more that he doesn't eat much. Like he gets halfway through the dish that yeah set out for him before he's like, well, I'm done.
God, my favorite idea about that specifically is Tia is just like, is that it all? Is that all, sweetie?
Yes.
Are you sure? That doesn't seem like enough for someone your size. Will you at least have an apple?
A thought passes through March's head, but he says nothing.
I'll have an apple.
And she passes it over and sets it on his plate, and then goes back to, like, she also doesn't eat a lot, but, like, it looks like she doesn't eat a lot. She eats the average amount, but, like, she's so neat and dainty about it, and, like, just takes what she can finish onto her plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she takes another sip of her tea, and then starts cutting into a sausage link.
Yep. I feel like this is the point that Petra finally finishes.
Yeah, yeah, it's taken March. It's taken a bit longer for the whole pancake to just get slurped into his arm because it's a big everything pancake.
Because you got a 6 on that, I'm gonna say that things come out of your arm.
Oh no, yeah.
Only the food bits of this pancake are consumed.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
The whole egg comes back out because that is raw. There was a spoon in there that came back out.
I have an image of how it comes out because eventually, like it all goes in for a moment, but then his arm kind of gurgles a little bit, and then all of a sudden, everything non-edible that was in there just comes shooting out.
Okay, I'm gonna make a dex save.
Good. Nice.
Oh no!
You get
we
beat
all
in
have
the
to
face by a wooden spoon.
You get an egg to the face,
Or
Nor.
egg.
I will say the egg hits Nora's face and it immediately like cooks on impact.
Yeah, like it cracks, it breaks. You have yolk on your face for a second, and then it's cooked in the shape of your face. It doesn't even drip.
He peels it off and he's just like, he peels it off and it's just like, huh, looks good. Who is this handsome fella?
What?
Oh. What happened there, Kendall?
I don't know. It's a 19, because that was supposed to be a 2, not an at.
Alright, Star, you just, you managed to catch something out of the air. It's the spoon, you set it down on the table. Petra, you don't catch anything out of the air, but you don't get anything on you.
Yeah.
And, everyone else is far enough away that they're fine.
I am so tempted. I am so tempted to say that this is when Graham arrives and just says this shit.
Hi, Graham.
Yeah.
Do you want a pancake?
Petra's
No,
just,
thank you.
I win!
Oh, 13. Damn it, North's
Puts
hair doesn't tip
Both
over.
hands in the air!
Alright, now that... Oh, hello! Would you like something to eat?
No. I'm good. I ate already, thank you.
Alright, if you want something to eat, just let us know, okay? There's plenty.
I'll be fine. Just looking at all
I
the
don't
people with
know.
stuff on them.
I think you could all use a little bit more food before winter comes.
I'll probably be gone when winter comes.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll insight.
No, Grandma Intuition. I'll give this to you. Grandma Intuition is saying, I don't think you guys will be gone before winter.
Grandma's just saying they're a merchant. They're probably not gonna be in the town at this point. At least from what they assume.
Who
No.
knows?
Grandma's just like, I think I sent something special about this group. Just
Something
that sort of
special,
like,
but not in the optimistic way.
It's like you guys
Grandma's
are
just
special,
like-
and I have a feeling you're gonna come back into our lives multiple times. That sort of deal.
Graham and like Nora are both like constantly in and out of Dreamer's Crest, and in Graham's case, they're just like constantly like, why the fuck am I coming back here this week?
Exactly.
So he's just like, all right, yeah. A lot of people just like to come in and visit. But I do know a couple of you. Oh man, who here was in? You were interested in housing opportunities?
Nora perks up. This house.
Petra raises her hand.
And she beams, and she says that can wait for after we've all eaten, and then you guys you finish up eating, and then you clear the table. And then she sets down what looks like a big map. There are a couple of little figures, which are obviously like little tiny people figures, and they're little like Monopoly houses.
Oh my god.
That's really cute.
Yeah, and she sets it down, and if everybody can look in maps at the grid map.
Grid map.
She that's what's on the table right now, and she has set down the buildings that are currently out, and she says, all right, so the thing about our town is that it's been a while since we've had tourists. Things have kind of fallen a little bit to the wayside, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there is no opportunity here. As you can see, we have a lot of land that is just straight up for grabs. We're rich in resources. We're right next to the ocean. And of course, the soil here is fantastic for farming. So, if you would like to have a house, you will not be charged for it, considering that you have helped revive our town, but you will have to help us gather the materials to build it.
March raises a hand at
Sounds
that.
reasonable.
Yes?
Oh, actually, it could probably wait after.
No, go ahead.
You're talking about materials, like the ore that the skeleton crew in the mountain make?
That's a good idea, actually. Wait, skeleton crew? She's never been in the mountain.
March will
Are
actually
they-
look at Noctis.
Are there people living in the mountain?
March actually doesn't answer. He looks at Noctis.
No,
And-
there are not people living in the mountain.
Nope. Not living.
You're not living.
Noctis kind of, he slinks down a little bit, and then he sits up and he says, they're not alive, but they are living. Like, and she says, reanimated constructs. And he's like, yes, thank you for saying it for me. And he says, they're currently working on there. It's a whole thing where they're under a curse from someone who used to live in the town. If they don't produce enough material and sell and trade it, then they will expire without their choice. But if they just a lot of people like to choose how they live and all that other stuff, and they don't have that option. So I've already promised to help them with the trading and stuff, but actually, if we need ore and quarrying, that's probably a really good place to start.
Yeah.
I told them that I would help. So I would like to go to the mountain and help them.
All right. Then we'll put you on mountain patrol, and she sticks the little a little person marker. She writes an M on it, and then she puts it on the mountain.
Can go with March. Maybe. I'm good
Alright.
at curses.
Graham, I know for a fact, Graham, are
Mhm.
you looking at the cursed skeletons like, ooh?
A little bit.
Hmm.
Don't worry about it.
Petra has also perked up at the mention of going to the mountain, and I'm gonna roll a hammer space real quick.
They're just all going to go back to the mountain.
Dang it!
Fumble.
Every time
Oh,
it's a fumble. This is the third time you fumbled, Petra. That's a
Can't
9.
believe this. Okay, so Petra, you perk up at the sound of the mountain, but also you like you realize that there are 2 people already going, and like you probably could help out here more. And the last time you went into the mountain, like you got your leg encased in whatever the fuck that was.
Aw, that is
Yeah.
that is a good point.
Yeah. So you decide to like you perk up, but then you sit back down, and Tia looks around the table. All right, that's March, and she makes another marker, and she writes a G on it, Grem, and she puts that on the mountain, and she says, there are quite a few things that we can work on. I assume that the first thing you would want is more housing, so we need a team to go out into the forest to help with lumber work.
Oh, that I can do. Petra immediately perks up.
All right, so
Once again.
you would like to do some tree cutting?
Yeah.
All right.
I think Star will raise his hand for the I can help with the lumber.
All right. And she writes an S on one of the little figures and sets it in the forest outside of town. And then she writes a P on another one and sets it next to it. And she says, all right, does anybody else want to help?
dead silence from Noor, who's sweating as he eats his apple.
Or you're getting a look from Petra.
And from Star.
Is ignoring their looks.
I mean, Nor could
Petra looks
always.
harder.
I mean, Nor could always come with us.
No,
In the
no.
mountain.
He looks
In the mountain.
horrified. You're like, no, thanks.
March
If
just
you
March
don't want to
just
go
looks
in the
at
mountain,
you.
you could head to the forest.
No, I mean both these things already have 2 people going to them. You guys don't need little.
And Tia says, if you don't want to go and help out with either the wood cutting or the quarrying materials, you can stay in town and help us clean up the older dilapidated buildings, because since they are already on a foundation, it means that they take less supplies. So our best course of action would be to clean out those buildings and get them prepped for when they come in with fresh supplies.
Or doesn't want to do it, but also he can't exactly refuse now without being an asshole.
Everyone's looking at him.
Everyone is looking.
Everyone is looking.
And Tio comes over and he says, I'm so glad you're helping us out, or that you might help us out. I don't know. Anyway, I've just been wanting to hang out and talk to you, and maybe we can throw a pigskin around.
Oh my god.
And I can barbecue a football or something.
Aren't you excited?
Graham, you asshole. Nurse. Okay, I guess I'll stay in town and help.
Man, you're lucky. You get a barbecued football.
And Tio says, I'll lead you to the nearest site. It's just next door. And he's like, and of course, if you don't want to help out, you can stay here. That just means that I'll use all of my cool dad muscles to fix all of the things myself. And he stands up straight and you hear a crack in his lower back.
No.
God.
And then
March
he
likes
bends
him.
over again and he says, I'm fine. That was a momentary lapse. I'm going to go and fix everything myself. And he heads out with like a toolbox, and he's just like clomp, 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 clomp.
Nora
She'll
is
be
just
fine.
Picturing that scene from Up with Carlo where he like raises the thing above his head, is like ah, as his back cracks before it brings him down.
Exactly.
March just watches, is just like, I like him.
Yeah,
Nora
he's
just
good.
has his head in his hands, and you can hear him saying, "Oh, fire, brimstone. Oh, God, fuck being a nice person. This. Coming."
Goes his hand in his pockets and stalks after.
March will look at Grant. So,
Hmm?
mountain then?
Yep. All ready to go.
Yeah,
Alright.
March is getting up because he's ready to get going.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
is the kid gonna be doing?
Yeah. What about
the
baby?
kid has just been like sitting here, slurping, like licking a plate, getting all the syrup.
The kid's
And
just vibing,
Baby.
man.
As
Baby.
you start to wonder this, you just like look at the kid, and the kid looks back at you. They smile, and then they go back to licking their plate. And it's like
Prolonged eye contact.
no one thought to figure it out ahead of time, so the kid's just vibing.
And then Tia's just like, and actually, I got a letter this morning. And we have our first new townsperson who's going to be coming in. She's going to be staying in the town hall with me, but I have to meet her specifically at the at the carriage station. So I'm going to be heading out to go walk down there.
Oh no.
And she turns and she says, "Noctis, do you want to come with me?" And he looks up from the map which he's been studying, and he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he looks over at the kid and he says, "Hey, you want to come with?"
The kid thinks about it for a second. Then they nod.
And he says, "Cool." And then we all split into our little like teams of two. And I'm gonna say that you accomplish your goals. I'm gonna make you roll for how much material that you can get from each thing, but I will not make you build like a scene for each of them because it's 3:15 and we go till 4. So basically, you get out there. Boxy and the skeleton crew greet you. They're very happy to see you, and they're very happy to talk. And when you offer to help them in return for like quarry stone and stuff, and they get very excited, and like half the skeleton crew goes outside, and you have to look away from them while they're walking, but other than that it goes pretty quick, and they head to specifically, there's a little old quarry that you didn't notice before, and it's cut into the side of the mountain kind of like under it, and it's just outside of town.
Okay.
Yeah, they start squaring off stone and working, and like they're actually singing too. So like it's just like to keep the rhythm, and they actually seem to enjoy being like outside and working in the sunshine.
Can I ask,
Aw.
is this like when you say they're singing? I'm specifically thinking of like if you've watched Frozen, that scene with the ice people.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh my
It's like a
gosh,
cross
yeah.
between that and That's What Bilbo Baggins Hates.
Nice.
Blunt the knives and dent the forks. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates. That sort of thing.
I have never. No, I have
Fucking
watched Lord of the
amazing.
Rings when I was very young, but I don't remember that song.
Man,
Oh, I'll send you a link.
That's from
no
The
worries.
Hobbit.
there are two things that March considers during all this. Is that one, he wonders if it's possible to build a skylight in their usual place in the mountain. Two, his original plan was that because he recalls the skeleton crew talking about how the crew couldn't really dig to the lower levels because the lower levels of the mountain were filled with monsters essentially.
Yeah,
Marge's
that's
plan
the
was
main
to clear-
issue is that they can't get better ore or stone because they can't get any further down without, getting eaten.
Yeah, one of March's plans or ideas was to basically go down there and clear some of the lower levels out so they could dig deeper.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hello?
you can do that, but like that's a whole party adventure type thing.
Okay.
And that I'm gonna make you wait for a dungeon troll for that.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
March
Or
hears a
let's-
very
That's a good idea.
March hears a
Hello?
very big roar from the lower levels. It's just like, probably should wait for everybody else.
Yeah, and someone says, "That's Frank."
That's Frank. You named them?
Oh, fun.
I named that one. He took my arm, and then one of the skeletons says, "You can look real quick." And you look over, and it's a skeleton with one arm and a pickaxe, and the one that they do have.
Oh.
Looks like he lent Frank a hand.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
No.
That's terrible.
Why would you do this?
All right, so basically, like they're working the quarry really well, and I'm gonna need you guys both to roll a straight up D20 for luck to see how much stone they get out as you guys wait for like the first 6 hours.
March is gonna get bored waiting. Is it possible for him to, while waiting, to try and make a skylight for them in their...
Wait, can he try and do some construction work to fix up the quarry?
Fun.
Like do some cleaning?
Well, because the place where they found the skeleton crew in the originally.
No, that's fair. Go ahead.
What do I roll for that?
Try to make a skylight.
What do I roll?
This would be strength and dexterity. Strength means yes, you made a hole. Dexterity means it went where you wanted.
Cool. All right. So let's do straight. Could I? Nah, it's not really athletics. It's just strength.
Yeah, strength is gonna be.
Eh,
I was gonna say strength is over a 10, and dexterity is over a 15.
nope.
Oh.
Wow.
You attempt, but the ceiling's
Wow.
really thick, and you dislodge a stalactite, and it falls down, and you almost get some saliva on you.
Oh. No.
So
It's
it
fine,
falls to
Grim
the
is
ground,
here.
and you're like, "Oh, that was a bad idea. Oh God." But,
Thankfully, you have someone who is not getting, who is immune to the saliva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I'm
just
gonna say
imagining
this.
like this.
You guys
just-
came up with a good idea to get stone and like ore out of this, but you did not consider how you were going to get it back other than carrying it. And I'm gonna tell you, it's really hard to carry a truckload of squared off stone without a wagon.
Hey, guess what?
Yeah, no
hey,
shit.
guess what? Boom! Arms of astral self. Yeah. So that at least that doesn't solve the problem. I know, but it.
Now
Yeah.
March has many arms.
He has multiple arms to help.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you advantage on basically, Graham, you know what we need is a wagon, and March looks very strong.
Flexes all 6 of his arms.
Yeah, Graham, can you roll intelligence?
I can roll intelligence, just straight intelligence?
Yes, please.
The 5.
It's a
Yes,
5.
yes.
I'm just
All
laughing
right,
at
so-
the idea that
It's a
like,
12.
oh no.
12.
You think about it, and suddenly a thought burbles to the front of your mind, and you realize you need a cart.
You need
So-
a cart.
Yep. You look over at your partner in crime for now, and you say, "We need a cart." And then you say, "I know how to make a cart, but I need materials." And March, that's one thing you can do. So you head out to go and find some wood.
He's just gonna chop down more trees with his bare hands.
Yep. You chop
Nice.
down enough for a wagon, so it's just one, and then you use your weird biology and stuff to like carve out the pieces, and they interlock together. So like the two of you work together to build a rickety ass looking cart.
March
Yeah,
is very
baby.
sparkly eyed at the end
Aw.
result.
Aww.
All right, so then Grem, you're good for now because if you tried to lift a block of stone, you would die instantly.
Yeah, obviously.
March, your job now is to get the stone into the cart.
Can I argue athletics for this one?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's gonna take roll over 10 to get the stone into the cart. And I'm gonna say your rickety ass cart can hold 5 blocks.
Okay, this is what. So Dice has not been nice. Dice Parser hasn't been nice yet, so I don't think this is gonna go well. Oh no, never mind. 16.
All right, so you gently set the blocks in, and then you go over to the handles and you grab them and you lift with every single one of your arms.
Just
All 6 of them.
Grim's just cheering you on. Don't worry about it.
kind of has to waddle a little bit over to the cart to set the block down.
Just imagining Graham like quote unquote cheering March on, but he's actually like scribbling in a notebook like all the properties of the saliva that he noticed.
Oh
earlier.
no, they're absolutely doing that. And actually, now that you remind me of this, if that's possible, Graham is gonna take a little bit of the saliva in a little.
I'm
you
sorry,
know,
I'm just
bottle.
imagining like he puts it in a like bottle, and whenever Nord's being annoying, he's just like shut up or I'll throw this to you at you.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
listen, they need this for analysis and shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so you've loaded all your crud into the thing, and I'm not going to make you spend constitution points on the mining this round because you specifically used the help of the skeleton crew. But now I'm going to remove the amount of constitution points that the skeleton crew is. Like, you have used up the skeleton crew, you have used up their 120 CP to get the materials that you need.
It's a good gosh.
There's about each block is worth 5 stone. You've loaded 5 blocks into your rickety ass cart.
Can I?
Which means you have 25 stone so far.
Wait, can I? Is it possible, since March does have the extra arms, that he is able to fit the 5 stones into the cart and then carry 1 more on his back?
Yes, I will accept that. So currently you have 6 stones, and the people at the quarry who are working have currently blocked off about 10 big blocks. So 10 blocks of stone, you're carrying 6. It's gonna take you 2 trips.
Nice.
Nice.
March is, I gotta say, March is actually pretty satisfied with how this is going. Like, they're doing good work.
Yep. And you trot back into town, and this is where I'm gonna say that you're like trot, and as you head back into town, you pass the carriage place. You pass the carriage stop, and you see Noctis and Tia further down the road walking down, and they wave at you, and the child's trailing with them.
March has no arms available to wave, otherwise he absolutely would.
It's fine, Graham can wait for them both.
Oh, Greg's waving with one hand, and March is just like, Graham, I don't have arms to wave. Could you wave for me, please?
Yeah, sure. And they wave with the other end.
Thank you, Graham.
No problem.
Everyone waves
precious.
back. Like, Noctis and Tia both wave back.
Precious.
Child just sort of watches March with big eyes.
March looks back with big eyes.
Stop staring at me with them big ol' eyes.
You guys communication.
both their eyes just shrink. I don't know what telepathic communication these two are having, but
they're sure having one.
They sure are having one.
Yep.
You peered with their heads for a second, see the kind of conversation they're having, and it's like rasping.
And it's what?
Sorry, it was dumb. I just was like Rasputin.
Oh, Packet Enderman. Anyway.
It's the Wii theme. It's the Wii theme.
Oh my god.
Not the copyright.
It's fine. We can do it for a few seconds.
They can't copyright audio. They can't copyright audio, especially they can't copyright it if we're singing it instead of like actually tearing footage.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
You guys, you continue heading down the road after the little wave, and finally Tia, Noctis, and the child get to the carriage station, and Tia's like, "It's your old childhood friend," and Noctis is just like, "What? Are you serious? I thought she moved to another town." And it's like, "No, I sent her a letter, and she was completely willing to come by, and just." And he's like, "I can't believe Kami's coming back," and then he just like he smiles, and Tia looks over at the child and she says, "Oh, Kami is she's our tailor. A tailor is a person who makes clothes," and she explains because not everybody knows what these things are.
The child brightens up a little bit, and they look down at their outfit. Their outfit mysteriously became very clean and free of stickiness, but it is still a little bit tattered.
Yeah, and she says, "Yes, with the as soon as a tailor moves in and we get enough material, we can make new clothes for all of you, including pajamas. I think that everyone should have a good pair of pajamas."
You're right, it is sort of quirked to the side.
And she says, "It's okay if you don't have a good pair of pajamas." And then she looks off into the distance because she can hear something. "Sounds like it's just on time. I always wonder how they manage to be so punctual."
Child hides behind her.
She floofs out her skirt to hide them better.
Oh.
And Noctis is just like, "Oh yeah, I hear him now. Hey!" And he calls out and does the anime thing where he waves his hand back and forth. "Hey!"
This is an anime cutscene. There are sakura petals.
Yep. And someone is leaning out the window of the carriage, and it is a lovely young woman. Looks like a half elf. Has beautiful purple hair. And she sees Noctis, and then her face lights up, and she says, "Oh, it's you! Hello!" And she's waving, and now they're just waving and like shouting at each other like nonsensically, like you do with friends you haven't seen in a while. And the carriage finally pulls to a stop, and there is a mysterious hooded figure driving this carriage, and they look very sinister. But then they flip up their hood, and it's just like it's a normal ass person with like a pair of little silver spectacles, and they've got a face mask on, because like they don't do so good with the dust. And they
Child
say,
is
"Morning,
sizing
Tia."
everyone up very carefully.
"Morning, Tia. We brought in someone. I thought you guys were leaving, but it looks like you're not. There's no bags. How are you guys doing?" And Tia's like, "We're doing wonderfully. Oh, come here. Kami, just pass down the, yep." And Kami comes down. Noctis helps brace her so she can land without hurting one of her like her ankles or something. And then she just she comes down. She helps get her stuff out of the cart, and she spies a little poke of antler behind, like little horn, and she says, "Oh, is someone else here?"
Child to just like actually straight up they vanish. They cast invisibility.
Oh. She looks a little bit confused, but she's like, "All right," and she shrugs, and she says, how are you all doing? I was really surprised when I got your letter."
And like while she is talking to them, now that the child is invisible, they're gonna sort of peek out and like sort of like trail around her.
Uh,
And they're I think what they're going to do is they're going to try and like poke at that thing, tiger hair back to see if it jingles.
It does not jingle, but like it's solid and it's cool to the touch. And her ear twitches as your hand comes within range. You get the idea that she can't see you, but she can hear you.
Yeah, the child sort of like backs off, gives her a look, and then probably goes to check out the horses.
Yeah. She just stands up. She's wearing a coat. She pulls something out of her pocket. And it's another hair tie, like what she uses to keep her hair up, but like a little bit less of a hair decoration and more of just the ribbon. She says, "It's so good to see you. I missed you guys so much, and I can't believe that the town is coming back." And she's talking a lot, and then the guy who brought her into town has finally unloaded her bags and is just like, "I have to get back now. I gotta be on time." And then he looks down and he's just like, "Anybody who's within range of the wheels or the hooves better get out. Better get out."
The guy hears a little, and then the child backs off.
Yeah, and just she's not like paying attention or anything. She drops the ribbon that she was holding on the ground, and it is bright red, very shiny, and very smooth. Like it's a red silk ribbon.
Ooh. Yeah, after a second, the ribbon lifts up and the child drops invisibility as they are looking at it and then look up at her.
And she says, "I thought that'd get your attention. My little siblings love that. I always bring a little bit and bob so that they can tie up their hair if they want to. Everyone in my family has extremely long hair. It's just our style, I suppose."
Child begins sort of running their hair through their own sort of scruffy, pulled back ponytail.
And she says, "Oh, do you want some help?" She kneels down.
Let me pull a quick thing to see if they get too spooked.
Yeah, she's actually got, hold on. Kami's got an 11 in charisma, so that'd be just a straight up D20. She's like, "You can keep it regardless, but like, I'm just offering to help because it's hard to tie a ribbon yourself."
Nice. Yeah, that's good. They very slowly sort of like the sort of tension in their shoulders loosens a bit, and they nod and point at her hair.
And she smiles. "I can't get you exactly the same hairstyle I've got. You'd have to grow it out a little more, but I'll do my best, okay?"
They nod.
Yeah, and then she says, "All right, turn around. Take a seat." And then she takes out the old hair tie, which is old and kind of ratty, and she slides it around her wrist. She's gonna give it back to them later, and then she very gently takes the pretty red ribbon. And she collects all of the hair. She uses her fingers to gently get out any knots. It's like her fingers are magic, as in this hair smooths out and becomes more manageable. In that, like, in the Ghibli way, where it's still got like parts of it that like stick out and are like straw-like, but like it all faces the same direction. And very gently, she begins to tie it up. She twists it a little bit so it's a little hair bun, and then she finishes off with a bow holding the bun in place. And she makes sure to tighten the bow. It looks very nice. It looks very cute. And she says, "And okay, a little bit of this. Let me straighten it out. All right, turn around."
They do. They like, because she's done this before, she could probably get the feeling they have not like done anything even in the realm of brushing their hair for a long time. All of their cleanup that they do of themselves has been through like prestidigitation. So
Yeah.
this
She
is very different for them.
she looks over the child and she hums and then she moves the hair bun and the bow a little bit and then it's very nicely centered and she says it's not too tight.
They shake their head.
All right, if it's comfy, then that's all we need. And she takes out what looks like a like in her own hair. She's got little hairpins. She takes a hairpin out and she slides it into place. And she says, "This is just to keep the bow from coming untied, okay?" And she sticks it in, and then she sits up. She brushes off the knees of her leggings and skirt, and she says, "And now we are even more fabulous than we were initially."
The child does a little little twirl. They just enjoy the feeling of their hair.
Yeah, the hair is now nice. It's much neater, and it's tied up a little bit better, so it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall out or anything. And also, the ribbon has like little tails, and the ribbon itself kind of smells like lavender. It's been in Kami's pocket, and she uses a lot of like, she keeps little sachets of lavender in her stuff.
Aww.
This has been really soft, and I'm dying.
Yeah.
It smells extremely soft.
And Noctis wanders over to Kami and says, "I still don't get how you're so good with kids." And she says, "This is what happens when you have 3 younger siblings. You can't help that, only child." And she gently punches him in the shoulder. And he's just like, "Ow, ow, my arm. You've hurt me so bad. Ow, it's like a mosquito bit me."
Child just sort of like does a little like snicker at them.
And Tia is looking over the whole thing and looking fucking happy as a goddamn clam to see all these people together. And she says, "All right, Kami, we've got you a room set up at the town hall. Currently, we're working on some repair work for the dilapidated buildings in town. As soon as we fix one up, I think we can get you an apartment over a small shop, just like you remember when you were little how there was the tailor shop was before." And she looks kind of sad, and Kami says, no, I remember, it was my parents' shop. I miss it a little bit, but I think the new one's gonna be even better." And she gently takes Tia's hand, she squeezes, and then she says, "All right, are we walking or are we riding?" And Tia says, "Unfortunately, we're walking." And Kami says, "I could use the exercise." And then she hauls one of her bags up, and Team Go Meet the New Person begins to walk back. And then she says, "Hang on, one second. And she then she turns around and she says, "Tudo, real." And you see the carriage has been riding away. And then it stops suddenly because you hear shrieking. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh God, did we miss the stop? Oh God!" And two twin girls who are about 12 years old. They jump out of the thing and they're like, "You said you'd wake us up on time!" And then she says, "I got busy!" And Tuto and Real come pouring out of the shop, out of the carriage, and they both have like little carry-on bags. All the rest of the bags have already been taken out, and they're right next to Kami's bag. And she's just like, "You were the ones who decided to sleep on the carriage ride." And they were like, "Yes, but you said you'd wake us up."
Oh no. The child's tail is just flicking back and forth very fast.
It's okay. These are like 2 12-year-old children, and they turn their heads and they both look at everyone there, and it's like, "Hello, Nopus?" And he's like, "Close, Noctis." And they're like, "All right, whatever." And they say, "Tia!" And they run over and give Tia a big hug after sprinting the distance. And then they see the other child, and they said, then they look at Tia, and they're like, "Did you adopt a kid?" And she's like, "No, this child is just here." And they're like, "Oh, hi, child!" And they wave, and like Tuto and Real are like a hurricane of activity.
No, no.
Oh no.
And
That is just like big eyes, flicky tail.
yeah, Real is between Tuto and Real. Tuto is more like in your face and out there and having a good time, and Real is quieter. So Real comes over very like quietly as Tuto is like jumping for joy, hanging out with Tia, and Real just does the quiet shy kid thing of like nods.
Nods.
And then they reach into their pocket and they pull out what looks like a very scrunched trading card.
John's head again. The like an ear flicks, and as they look at it.
Then Real offers it further.
They do that thing where like they like slowly reach, and then they like peek Rio and snatch it out of their hand and look at it.
And Real does a big yawn and stretches, and then wanders back over to Tuto. And the card that you've just gotten is it's Dodo Studios famous actor trading card.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this one has Larry on it.
Of course it does. I can't believe you've done this.
I can believe it.
All right, and with that, we move over and we head into the woods where
No shit.
Petra and Star have been chopping down wood, and they're chopping and chopping and chopping. Can you both roll intelligence?
Oh no.
I want to see if either of you realizes that you're gonna need a cart.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Everyone needs a cart. Oh dear.
And here's Petra. Petra got a
does
2.
not remember that you need a cart.
Again, you are a dwarf.
Star remembers that you need a cart. And in fact, with a 20, with a dirty 20, I'm gonna say that Star realized from the beginning they would need a cart. So they went by Nor and Tio, and they said, we need a cart. Like basically they gestured, they did the sand thing where like they signed, we need a cart, like to carry wood in. And Tio was immediately like, I'm going to build you a cart. And
Nor is just in the background, like with his hands in front of his face, like boy, and he's just looking at Star like, why would you tell him that?
And that, kids, is how Tio broke his back.
Tio is actually very good at detail work. He's not so good at like the strength work. So he says, Hey, Nor, come over here. I need you to. Can you hold this for me?
Nor's just like, can Petra do it? And he kind of gestures at his arms, which are
You
like.
try to gesture towards Petra, and you see Petra already going into the woods, excited. She's lost in the sauce.
Star is just giving him a smug look.
Nor, you have to help, Nor.
Fucking hell. Do I have to roll strength or dexterity for this?
This would be strength. Dexterity is fine. He just wants you to hold something in place, so it's mostly about whether your twig arms can keep it in place or not.
Oh my god.
Alright, that's a dirty 20. Very good job. So you wander over like, I don't wanna, but you wander over, and Tio asks you to help keep things in place as he does sawing and help lift things, and he puts together a non-rickety ass looking cart. He puts together a very nice looking cart that like has clearly been made with someone with carpenter's knowledge. And he
Against
says,
all
"Yep, that's a
odds.
beauty. I even put a seat on it." And there is in fact a seat in this large cart. And he says, "If you want to go and watch him chop wood, you can sit in the basket and go watch him. As for me, I'm gonna be here cleaning up these old building foundations." And he takes a broom and he starts sweeping again. You hear little cricks of his joints.
Oh my god.
Or just puts or has a hand on his face. He's no, I'm staying with you.
"Oh, I'm fine. It'll all be
Actually,
He
can Nor
then
try?
hands the broom to Noir and says, "Please help."
Can Nor actually try something?
Yes,
Can
go
Nor
ahead and
actually
try something.
Like, okay, this isn't like actual proper. Like, there is no actual mechanical effect. But like, can he like kind of like lay a hand on whatever just creaked and like kind of like warm his hand a little?
Oh, like
Yeah,
a heating pad.
You basically give him a very gentle heat massage with your palms,
Yeah.
and it untenses his muscles, and he's like, "Oh, that's nice, thank you. Ow," but in a good way.
Ow, but in a good way.
I'm like, does that make sense? Have you ever been like, "Oh God, that hurt," but like it feels good?
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Like every time, it's basically the same feeling you have when you're like peeling a. Like, ow, this
what?
hurts. But also, it's so satisfying.
So there we go. And then Nor, you finish that up. You shake out your hands, and Tio says, "Oh, thank you so much. You're such a good kid." And he gives him a hearty slap on the back, which is actually just a regular pat on the back. He is not that strong.
He's doing his best.
And then Grandpa turns over to look at Star and says, "The cart's ready. All you gotta do is tug it out into the woods."
Yep.
And
Nice.
with that, Star, you take the cart with you. Just as you leave, March comes in with their rickety ass cart full of rocks and shit, of squared off rocks, and they're like, "We brought rocks!"
We got rocks.
And Tio's like, "Oh,
Sure
excellent.
fucking do.
I don't think I like the cart that you made, but it's a good first attempt. Come on, let's grill some footballs."
It's made with
We
friendship.
had to make do.
It's made with friendship. And March, I didn't
Aw.
get to say this while they were making it, but March did in fact write his name in ink on the side of their cart as he also did ask how to spell Grem's name, because he also put Grem's name on it.
Oh,
That's the cutest!
It's the March and
Oh.
it's the March and
That's very
Gremmobile.
I love
Marching
that so much.
Grandmobile.
Tio helps them. Basically, Tio helps reinforce it. Like, he points out, if you use a couple of these rivets and you make sure that everything's like balanced a little better, it's the same cart. It just means that there's less of a chance of an axle breaking. So like, he helps out, especially with the wheels, because the wheels are the hardest part of a wagon to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we flash into the woods where Petra, you're just chopping trees.
Mhm.
This is so good, man. You're just chopping some fucking trees.
Hell yeah.
Chop
the trees. Chop the trees.
Can you please do a strength check? I'm gonna say on under a 10, you've only chopped down 1 tree, and on over a 10, you've chopped down 3 trees.
Real quick, before I roll, can I actually have Petra cast Enhance Ability on herself so that she could get advantage on the strength rolls?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I will do that then. Make a note of the spell I have used. Okay! It is time to make the roll. So it's just straight strength, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Here's the first one. Oh boy, here's the second one. Oh, come on!
Aw.
All right. So you have only chopped down. You've only chopped down 1 tree because you've been putting a lot of effort into making this 1 tree. real good. You've been taking off all the extra branches. You've been making sure all of the animals get out of the tree first, if there are any in there. You scoped out a good tree that didn't have anything like super living in it, and then you're just chop chop chop. It falls brilliantly. It's beautiful, and it's only one tree, and it's not huge.
Yeah.
And then you hear the trundling of a cart come into the forest, and you see Stars like the top of his head, and you're just like, I chopped down a tree.
I mean, to be fair, this makes sense. Petra's more familiar with stonework than woodwork, so.
Yeah. Like, with stonework, you have to be careful with how you square things off because it can ruin the entire square. But with trees, you don't have to be nearly as careful. That's a tree. You just have to be careful about the direction that you let it fall.
And not onto someone's head.
Alright, so, finally, Star, can you please roll me the same thing as Petra? If you get above a 10, you get 3 trees chopped down. If you get under a 10, you only get 1 tree.
I'm gonna do enhance ability for Star as well, because I can do that.
Ooh, so that I get an advantage, correct?
Yeah.
It's a strength check, yeah. And Petra, you can roll again right now if you would like.
Oh yeah, I won't have the advantage then. It'll be just Star.
Oh my god,
nice.
Star, you chop down 3. Like you get there, you set down the cart, and then you chop down 3 trees.
That's a nat 20.
Petra,
wow.
you chop down 6 trees. Because you get doubles because of that. So we've got 1, and then +3, +6, which is 10 trees.
Petra takes note of how Star's doing and is like, oh, okay.
All right,
That's
so
what I was
going to give you guys each 3 chances to chop down trees, and you both used 2. So so one more try. Both of you roll one more time. Again, if you get over a 10, that's 3 trees. If you get under a 10, that's 1 tree. So
nice.
+3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Petra's got it now.
So that's 16 trees. And you square them off, you chop them up so that they can fit more easily into the big cart that you've got, and you load them in. And I'm gonna say with those strength rolls, you did good enough that you just kind of you load big logs into it. And then can you both please roll strength?
Before they start this, Petra gives Star a high five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So roll strength again.
And then the number that you have to pass, both added together, has to be 30 to be able to get this back into town.
Okay. Star, you still have advantage.
Yeah. So,
oh, cool.
That would be 13 plus a 13, 26. It's all right.
Oh, 19.
No, wait.
Advantage.
29.
Oh no.
So you start hugging.
I can do guidance.
What'd you say?
I have the cantrip guidance. It's you touch one willing creature once before the spell ends. The target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to one ability check of its choice.
Alright, I'm gonna say that you both take a handle for this cart, and you start pulling, and you feel it start to move, but it's just a little bit too heavy. So Petra, you reach out with a hand, and you bap.
It's actually not needed, because...
God damn it, it's 32, not 29. I can't add.
I gently pat you.
Yeah, guidance wouldn't have been needed.
Yeah, we don't need guidance, but like the both of you, you start going, you feel it start to move, and then it starts rolling. It's rolling, and you're just slowly making your way back into town with an enormous trundling, huge thing of logs.
I'm
so much wood.
Yeah,
I'm
you make
suddenly
it into town, and you meet up with everyone at the dilapidated building. Kami, Tuto, and Real are there. Tia, Noctis, Nor, and Tio are all there. And how about everybody else?
Just quickly, is Petra surprised at all about how much strength Star has for a wizard?
So, extremely so. She's kind of being quiet about it, but like she's just quietly baffled.
It was the breakfast. Had a hearty breakfast.
Hearty breakfast.
Breakfast.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, all right, is everyone in the party now in front of the closest dilapidated building, or are you all doing various other things?
No, I think they'll be there.
Yeah.
In front of the building. Petra's
Yeah.
ready.
All right, cool. Tia then stands up. She has a little soapbox and she stands on it to be a little taller. And she says, "All right, good job, everyone. It looks like we've got 50 stone from the stone team. Good job, good job." And she claps. And she then looks over at the wood team and she says, "And judging by the amount of logs, that's enough for about 160 planks of wood. You guys really went all out."
Petra beams.
Tia out loud, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think Star will raise a head for another high five.
You get a high five. Yeah.
Yep. And Tia then says, as soon as we get everything squared off and put into units we can use, we can revitalize this house. It will take about a week, but it should be pretty easy, and we can all do this if we work together.
I feel like this is the part where Nor starts walking off and someone has to like grab Nor by the collar.
Yeah,
It's
they will
Petra.
be recognized.
Petra doesn't even look.
Yes, good.
Just grabs Nora by the arm and is like, "You are not getting away. Not
Nor-
from this.
Nor Misty steps away.
No! Get back here, you coward!"
Hey Nor, guess what? Arch has a walking speed of 40 and he can catch up.
Nor
I'm
Misty
driving the
20 feet
stand.
away, but much like grabs him.
Noctis has started squaring off. Like the stone is already squared off. You really don't have to worry about it. But Noctis has started making boards out of the lumber.
Yeah.
Just chop,
Is
chop,
your-
chop, buzz. Chop, 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 buzz.
Yeah.
And then Tia says, "All right, who wants to be on the construction team?" And then we have a smoke cloud of activity. Everybody
Yep.
works together. You see in the blink of an eye in a montage, a week passes. Everybody's a little
Nice.
sleepy and a little bit like, "Oh yeah, we're working hard." And then it shows like there's a flash forward and it says like next week, 7 days later, there's a large like sheet like in Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And they tug it down, and now a brand new, beautiful, shining tailor's place with a little, like, it's a ball of yarn and a roll of fabric in Kami's color. It says tailors on it. There's a beautiful window in front, and it's all new, and it's all been restored, and now that the floor has been patched with enchanted stone, this building should stay good for as long as someone is living in it.
Nice.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And there's a little apartment above the tailor's place, but Kami is so fucking excited that she ran in, she's running her hands and stuff over all the counters, and she's tugged out her bag and she's put out her sewing materials. And she goes up the stairs, and there's a little bed in one of the bedrooms, and she's like, "Oh, this is so good!" And she's just very happy. And Tuto and Real are downstairs looking at everything, and they're just like, "This is a big house." And Tuto's the one talking, and Real just nods.
I'm just imagining that when like Connor comes back down, she's like when the tailor's place is actually like officially open, like Petra just fucking like lifts North up and like kind of holds him out in front of her the way like Rafiki held Simba in the beginning of the movie. Just like, please out with this guy.
Yeah, and
He needs armor stat.
you guys all get
Armor,
to see this
please.
new building. You get to see this new building. It's very exciting. Everyone's like, just like, yeah, we did a thing. And then Tio, he's been surprisingly absent this week, aside from when you need carpentry help. And he comes on in. He's covered in dirt. The man is covered in dirt. And he comes in and he says, "I've got a surprise." And Tia's just like, "Oh, what did you do? Oh, you're covered in mud. Oh, are you okay?" And he's like, "Don't worry. Come on. I survived the magical girl war." And he leads you a little bit outside of town, and there is a brand new vegetable field that has been dug, and there's a well, and he did this all this week as a way of saying thank you for helping with the
Aw.
thing. And he's just like, anybody who wants to plant things, go ahead and plant things.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Can
Petra's just staring.
Can I say a quick thing for the tailors, the new building that they just made?
Yeah.
March. This is a thing he heard about once about builders sort of leaving their signatures in a way on the buildings that they make. And so somewhere, I don't know where, but somewhere on that building, he has left an inky handprint.
Oh,
No,
I
it's
will
very
die
good.
for March.
That is
Wait, wait.
precious.
Fable, did March ask like the others like Graham and like Petra and everyone to like leave theirs too?
Yeah.
I
think if someone
just
saw
a
him
little
do it-
part somewhere.
I think if someone saw him doing it, he would have like offered an arm out so they could use just the ink from him and just put it on the wall.
God.
Oh god.
You know what? Sure. Petra will gladly like put hand in ink and then put hand next to March hand. There we go.
March has
Graham would
practice.
probably do it
yeah.
too.
Star's
Yeah.
very enthusiastic. Would definitely do it.
Good.
Nor's just like, hold on, and he doesn't use the ink, but he probably like burns the hand shape into the wall.
He's
I'm
too
just
sexy to use
picturing-
ink.
I'm just picturing Petra just sticking Mars' hand into the ink and then onto the wall.
Oh my
It's very
god.
good.
No.
No.
It's real
Everyone-
time! He only has so many napkins, okay?
March offers him the napkin he got from Tia that literally cleans it so easily. Quit being a baby.
Listen,
Fable
he
saying this. March would not say this.
Yeah,
Or
no,
he'll think
well,
yes.
the actual reason is like he prefers leaving a signature like with fire.
Fair enough.
That's
It
fair.
means more to him than ink.
You guys
Gosh.
all leave signatures on
Child does
in-
not.
Oh, except for the child. Everyone leaves signatures except for child. You write them down, and that's our end shot right there. Is the little corner of the room that has all the little signatures in it, I think that child, you just chose to like look at it because you don't know what to write.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see, wait, did you see Nor burn a handprint in?
They did, but they still don't want to.
All right, that's fair enough. I'm just like, wait, you don't know what you put on it, and you don't feel like you can right now, and all that other stuff, character reasons. That's up to you. And then Kami comes downstairs, and is just like, I love my shop. And she's just sort of jogging around the room. She looks at the child and says, "Hey, how are you doing?"
They sort of shrug at her.
She says, "All right, you were really excited about that ribbon, and I've got some spare materials. So, what's your favorite color?"
Their eyes get big.
Yes,
And
good.
with that, we zoom out, and you can see through the window as the camera pans out. You can see her with she has a little like flexible measuring tape, and she's just kind of measuring the child and occasionally giving a tickle. Oh, you've been tickled. Oh no! And then it's like, oh, Oh wow, you're very tall. Look at this. And that's the end of our game for today.
That is very good.
Extremely good.
That was very good.
You know, like this
That
child
was
is
fun.
shy, and then I'm just over here. This is fine. However, I am going to try and give the child friends.
Good. I appreciate that. Child seeing these kids their age and it's just like, what do?
What
Yeah,
do?
Tuto is the type
What
who
do?
is terrifying to approach, and Real is impossible to read. Like, they're just tired all the time. So it's like, do they like me? Do they not? What's going on? And then Tuto's just like, oh god, so loud. Kami is the cool, she's the cool older sister type.
She is
Yeah.
very cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
If you come up with like an outfit or a shirt or something that you would like for your little child, let me know and give me a basic description, and I will draw you a picture of the child in that new shirt.
Yes.
Aw.
I will do this.
Yes.
All right. Does anybody else have anything they want brought up? I know it's like 2 a.m. for some of you people.
Oh no.
I
That's
can't
all
think of
good.
anything.
I'm
Not
just
for
like,
this
did I
session
get
anyways.
everyone
Yeah,
in the group? Did I balance it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
good.
pretty good.
Okay. And next week is going to be. Today was like a town building, world building type thing. Next week is probably either going to be more of the same, or we're going to take a vote on a dungeoneering crawl.
Engineering.
Ooh.
Hee hee.
Could be
that
either.
sounds fun.
Basically, just like we're going to try and figure out where everything is and where you want to put everything and blah blah blah, that sort of deal, you know?
I really wanted the engineering crawl. I'm just like, Holtznor, please. I want him to fail really badly on the tech
I want
Please,
him
I
to
want
die.
you to. Please, I want you to kick my son's ass.
No, I will. I don't know why you're asking me to. I would do this of my own volition.
Listen, you weren't there to listen, but during Petra's FPS, he rolled a 0 in initiative.
Oh,
It
I
was
love it.
hilarious.
God, that was great.
All right, that is the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you for putting up with a bit of a slow start since I had to shove food in me so I could be coherent. Thank you all for being so patient. And as I mentioned in the announcement, next week we are having another game. Normally we go every other week, but because we skipped last week due to my brother had a birthday and then there was like a family thing, we're going to be doing 2 weeks in a row, which means that next week we're having another game. This week we had a game, and then we're gonna go 2 weeks, and we'll be back on schedule.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
everyone, if you have something that you would like to mention to me that you want to be in the game or that you want me to focus on, message me. I will forget.
Yeah, that's fair.
Your DMs
I
are
love
not
you all
safe.
so much. Have a good night. Remember to eat and hydrate, or I'll steal your bones. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Bye. Bye.